guess we'll start with a little background information.
Okay.
So, where did you grow up?
I grew up right here in Fulton. I was born here when Fulton had a hospital. I was born here, and I've lived here almost all my life, except for a few years I lived in White Plains, New York, with my parents.
All right. So, you want to talk about your job at all, or any past jobs that you've had?
Well, I'm on my fourth career right now, and so my first job was with the Sheriff's Department. I spent 23 years working at the Oswego County Sheriff's Department, and I retired from there in 2002 as a lieutenant with the Sheriff's Department. After that job, I worked for the Fulton YMCA. I was the executive director for 4 years, and I was recruited by SUNY Oswego to work at their Office of Business and Community Relations, which I had been working up until this year in August, when I left to do consulting work. A lot of work working with nonprofit organizations as well as wisdom thinkers. So that's what I do now, is working with nonprofit businesses, government, higher education organizations, to consult with them to make them operate better, help them work better, and work out problems.
All right. So, is there anything that kind of made you stay here in Fulton? You grew up here and now you're still here.
Right.
So, is there anything specific that made you want to stay?
Oh, what made me stay is I really enjoy the area. I said I was born here and raised here, and my family's still here. I have 5 siblings, 5 brothers and sisters, and all but one of them still live in the area, live in Fulton actually. Part of why I stayed here is because I had work here, working for the Sheriff's Department, 23 years. Like I said, that was a primary reason why I was here, because that's where the work was. But also because I like the area from the standpoint of having the 4 seasons, having Lake Ontario so close by, having the close-knit community that we have. I know a lot of people, people know me, so when I'm doing business or other things, it makes life easier for me.
Okay. Do you have a favorite story about the history of the community or something that...
Well, there's lots of neat things that happen here that people don't realize, but so growing up in Fulton, it was neat because having the community with the history of when it was founded in the early days, and all the things that happened here as far as the businesses in the community, those things that we see come and go, but they said it's really all about the people and the stories of why is Fulton what it is because of the history. The Erie Canal, the lake, the resources are here. With the Nestle's plant, probably one of my favorite stories is growing up as a kid. You always could tell when it was going to rain because you could smell chocolate in the air, which was kind of neat. It's a unique aspect of Fulton that I said is long gone, but like I said, still is a fond memory of mine.
All right. Do you have any hopes for the youth of this community?
Yeah, I would hope they didn't give up on Fulton, because they said there's lots of naysayers about how bad things are everywhere. But fortunately, in my current work, I get to travel a lot. I travel all over the country. I travel internationally, and the things that we complain about as being so bad here, people would hope for in some of the communities I go to. Large communities where you get lost in the crowds, you get lost in what's happening around in a community. You're not known as a person. Here you know people by their face, by their name, by their reputations, and you have that relationship. And I said I would hope that young people growing up in the community have as much, hope for the community and the ability to change it. And that's what I hope to be able to influence in the work that I'm doing now, is having the ability, giving some opportunities for youth and young people to see that they can change their community to what they want it to be, and don't have to go someplace else to do that. They can have a really good life here.
Is there anything specific that happened to you in this community that changed how you viewed the community or your perspective on life?
Like I said, what changed, or I guess molded me more than changed me, was the fact that I said it's relationships, and it's about having the ability to talk to individuals that make decisions, whether it's from the school district with the superintendent to the mayor here in the community, to the local politicians, to business owners. And when you say something's not right, then you try to work together to develop some responses to those, try to solve problems, rather than saying, oh, that's just horrible here, and not come up with any solutions. I guess part of how I was raised was, if you see a problem, rather than complain about it, come up, develop some ideas that potentially could help resolve the issue and make it better for the community, because when you make it better for yourself, you make it better for a lot of other people in the community as well.
Is there anything you want to change about the community?
I think attitude. Like I said, we tend to talk negatively about our community, and so when we talk about why somebody else would want to be here, it makes it difficult for people to say, well, this is a horrible place, or this is bad, or this is too many open storefronts, or the taxes are too high, or whatever it may be. That all the things we like to complain about really turns off other people to seeing the real beauty of the community being, like I said, the resources here, the cost of living is very inexpensive, and we're really close to lots of neat things. You're not that far from Syracuse, you're very close to Lake Ontario. The Adirondacks are just an hour or two away, a couple hours away. The weather changes, the snow that everybody complains about is really something I see as a positive for our community. And there's, like I said, it's the history of the community that really is what pulls us together, and that's what I said. That's what I'd like to see happen.
What would you like Fulton to look like 20 years from now?
It's really interesting from the standpoint that I'd like Fulton to be the community that is based on the strengths of it. As the community, and all communities change, and what are the strengths of the community? I'm talking about things that are the positives that we tend to downplay. The fact that we're very close knit. People still have a voice here. The crime rate realistically is very low. The cost of living is very low, but it's a community where you can still talk to people, you can still solve problems, you can still have a voice in what's happening here if you choose to. And I think that's the strength of the community. I would never want to see that go away, because, like I said, that's what makes a community when people care about it enough and are concerned about issues enough to be able to come together, collaborate for solutions, and make it a place that everybody else wants to be. And have it growing again, like it has been over the centuries.
If you brought a friend to the community who's never been here before, is there anything that specific you would like them to see?
Just like I said, the how close we are to as a community. Like I said, the people here, as well as some of the natural resources. Lake Yankowsky, it's a great resource. It's got some bad press in the past years as far as, it's someplace horrible, but no, it's just nature. And I think there's some really good stuff going on right now with cleaning it up and getting it to where it used to be. Like I said, I remember growing up that we used to go to Recreation Park where there's a beach there, and go swimming there and spend summers there and go fishing, and as well as enjoy how close everything is in this community. So like I said, I'd show them what it's like to be a Fultonian.
How would you go about changing the attitude in this community?
Small changes. They said sometimes people just need to be convinced that there is opportunity in the community, and doing some small things is very. One of I guess one of the important things is giving them voice, giving, no matter what age you are, as you have a voice in what's happening in the community. And when you see things you don't like, then you need to look into the reasons why things are that way. And is there a need for change? There's an opportunity for change, and being able to speak out that voice in a way that's constructive, rather than just complaining about it, but to be more, I guess, insightful as to why are things the way they are, and how do we change them so it benefits more people, and it makes it a nice place to be.
Okay. Do you have any last thoughts that you'd want
other people to know? Like I said, it's really about, we have a really good thing here in this community as far as our being connected to it, having that voice still. I said all you have to do is go as far as Syracuse to see what's happening there in a community that's disrupted by poverty, by crime, by lots of other things that are happening. And part of that is because people feel that nobody's listening and nobody cares about what they're doing, and nobody pays attention to why do you live in the community. And they said you only have to go 30 minutes before you get to a place. Fulton, Oswego County in general, is a pretty neat place. Like I said, when you talk about why would somebody want to be here, I know lots of people. Like I said, I travel worldwide. I travel all over the country, And they say you live near a great lake, you have the four seasons. I was just talking to a gentleman just the other day, he was from Los Angeles, and we were in the Chicago airport. He says, I'm trying to find a job back up in the Northeast because I love to change the seasons. And they said he's lived most of his life in Los Angeles, the place that everybody thinks of as Hollywood. But he says, I love the fact that the seasons change and they can see that in nature. So that's I guess I'd like to see other people be able to see the value of what we have here.
All right. And actually, one last thing I forgot to ask.
Okay.
Did you go to high school at G.A. Bradley?
I did.
All right.
I graduated in 1976, so that makes me really old. But as I said, all my brothers and sisters, like I said, I have 5 siblings, and we all went to Fulton High School, and like I said, we all turned out pretty good. And he said, so we have jobs, and we're successful, and he said, still love this community.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.